Praise, honor, the glory go to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Peace and safety to the hopefully elect, the sincere Akim out there. Just a quick hit dealing with Gog and Magog. Now, according to the private interpretation, Gog and Magog is referring to the Russians. I'm gonna show you in the precepts that Gog and Magog is referring to the nations. All right. So this is Revelation 20. And I'll pick up at verse 8. It says, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog." All right? It's plain, straight to the point, man. Gog and Magog is the nations. Now, according to the private interpretation, it's referring to the Russians. All right? The Russians are Edomites, man. So when you read verse 7, and it says, "And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison," referring to the Edomites. Remember, they come after the workings of Satan. They're referred to in Revelations 12 as the devil and Satan that deceived the nations. All right? So Gog and Magog is clearly referring to the nations and not Esau, Edom, man. All right. Esau, Edom is the one that's doing the deceiving. Okay. So it says, Revelation 20 and 8, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog," not the Russians, but the nations, "to gather them," the nations, not the Russians, not the Edomites. All right. The Bible don't support that lie. Okay. These guys are just winging it, man. Okay, referring to these one Westers, man. All right, because the private interpretation that they teach that Gog and Magog is referring to the Russians when there's no precepts, absolutely none, not one precept to support that lie. Okay, so the them is referring to the nations together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Okay, so let's get a quick precept. Like I said, this is a quick hit. Straight to the point. Straight to the point. Let's get that Ezekiel. The book of Ezekiel. And show you who the Bible referred to as Gog and Magog. Not the madness that those false prophets are teaching, man. These guys are just winging it, man. So this is Ezekiel 38 and 1. And it says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Mechiph and Tabal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief priest, the chief prince of Mechiph and Tabal." It says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy armies," referring to the nations. The same them referred to in Revelations chapter 20, man. So it says horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even the great company of bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmets, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tegamar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. So this is what Gog and Magog is referring to, not no damn Russians. Remember, the Russians are Edomites, man. Okay? Russians are Edomites. And Gog and Magog being the Russians is not supported with any precepts, man. All right? It's basically a private interpretation, man. So I advise you, brothers, go look up the word Gog and Magog. It's not referring to the Russians. According to the precepts, it's not referring to the Russians, which are Edomites. It's referring to the nations. All right. And basically that's the point. And uh, let's see. Let's read verse 7. It says, "Be thou prepared, prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled with thee, and be thou a guard unto thee." And it says, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter days, in the latter years, Salakia, thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell there safely. Now let's go on into something else. And like I said, Gog and Magog, look up the words. All right, use the precepts and not the private interpretations that these false prophets is pushing. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom.